Welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about resetting the game. So this is the last lecture of this project. We are going to implement the functionality of resetting the game at any point in any time. So what we are looking for in this is when we click this new game or a reset button. So all the we have to do is remove the winner class and set all the scores to 0 and set all the total scores back to 0, and essentially we need to set back all the initial conditions of this game. So we did like this already, similar to this in our first project game. So you may have a good opportunity to leave you as this as a challenge for you. So this one would be a more difficult than the first project, guess my number, but I would like you to try it out. But before you try it out, let me show you a demo how this new game button works. Okay, right now let's play. Hold. So see here, the player one is 1. Now when I click the reset, it should go back to player 22. Here this main scores to 0, this current scores to 0, and everything needs to be set to 0. So like this I want to do, but without clicking refresh I want to make this for this button. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and try this challenge on your own. Okay, coming back, so we need this button new, as we have already declared here in the above right, button new. So we need this one more event handler there. So we'll write button new dot add event listener, and when we click it, we need the function, right? We need to set all the scores to 0. So let's do that. I guess I have already selected up these here. As you can see here, the score 0 element, score 1 element, we have already declared above here. And as you can see here, we set them to 0, right? So we'll simply copy these and we'll paste it down. And now we'll set the current scores to 0, that here the above the current 0 element. So we haven't declared those above, so we'll declare them here. Similarly, we'll just copy paste for current 1 element as well. Okay. Next up, we need to remove the winner class. So when we win, our screen here will turn black, right? And also we need to remove that color. So it needs to be disappeared when we reset. So let's do that. Let's do that by grabbing here the player 1 element. As you can see, we need to set that to 0. So here the player, right? Here the player 0 dot element dot class list dot remove player one. So I'll explain you this in a second. So here player one. So what we did here was, when we are so we want to remove this the winner class, right? So when the player wins, so we have to remove this element from their. So let me just. So here the player 2 is 1, right? So let me just show you here by inspecting this page. So as you can see here, the player win which is there in this section, so this needs to be removed, so that this black texture goes away. So for that we have just declared here the class to remove. Similarly, for player 1 and 2, we in the both the cases we don't know who will win when. So we have declared both the classes. So next up we need to remove is active classes on both the players. So we need to reset. For example, if the player 1 wins, so when we reset, we need to remove the active class as well. If the player 2 is win, the active class will be here. So we need to remove in the both the cases because we don't know which player is winning. So player 0 dot class dot remove player active. So let's do that for player 1 as well. So by seeing this, so you might ask me a question, why to declare it in the both the cases. When we reset automatically, there won't be any active class in the both the cases, right? So behind this, JavaScript will take care of it. When you declare in the both the cases, if it is remove is present in one and not present in two, but you still declared here remove in two as well, JavaScript will simply do nothing in two. If it is in one, it will simply remove. If there is not in two, it cannot remove, so it will simply do nothing. So behind the script, JavaScript will do that. In the next coming sections, you will know about it, how the JavaScript plays. And then we also need to set the first player to active when we reload this new game. Okay, initially game starts with player one, right? So we need to set this player one to be active. So if I am in player 2, when I click this reset, it should remove only here the player active. It should not remove the player active in one, because when we reset, automatically by default, the player 1 should be having the active. So let's remove here and then add it here. So even though if already player 1 is won and it has the active, and still you are giving here add active, it simply JavaScript will do nothing, because JavaScript does that behind the code here. So uh, this is how we just set everything to. So let's save it. See, when we reset, it is coming back. We have removed everything what we can from the interface, right? But when we try to execute our project, it does nothing works basically. So here we changed was manipulating the classes and the content, but of course we need to set our initial state variable back to initial state. So let's do that by here setting this to 0. So here we also need to set these state variables, right? These also need to set these to 0. So here these are called the state variables. Here they have boolean value and zeros. So here these and all everything we need to set to 0, right? By now you might have sorted out that we have to declare those state variables here again. So in our code, to keep the dry code, we have to call them here, right? So we should not repeat them twice in code. So what we'll do is we'll simply copy everything. We'll copy this. So we'll copy this, and also there is some more starting conditions, and also we'll copy this. So as we have already declared these two conditions already in our code, we'll remove from here. So these conditions we'll also put everything in the function. Right now we'll save. So we have declared them here in inside, right? But we don't want in the multiple cases to be called everything, right? So what we'll do is we'll simply create a function for all of this code here. So let's copy this, and then we'll store it here in the starting. We'll call this variable as init. So here we'll store all the variables, and then Here we can remove all this, and also we need to remove everything from here. No need to store it here. So when you just go ahead and save it, as you can see our code here, it does something weird. Like when we are starting with the project, it takes back to the initial stage. So here nothing works here, because we have removed here every code here from this event listener, and also these variables needs to be declared outside the function, not inside, right? But we are declaring here inside the function. So to make this our code run, so what we have to do, simply we have to call this init function outside the function. So outside the function we called the init, right? So now you can see, when do we want this init situation? Basically, we want this init situation in two cases. So whenever we load the page for the very first time, we want everything to be reloaded, right? So then we need to be declaring the initial values. So, and also when we click this reload new button, then we need to set everything initials back to 0, right? So then this init content needs to be coming executed. Okay, so now JavaScript will find the solution for function definition, then it runs, and then our game will not work, because here let's take a look at console. So as you can see here in the console, even though we have defined some everything, playing is not defined, because this error comes from something we have already talked about, and we'll go deeper into this later. But what is this error called as? It is called as the scoping. We'll learn about that in depth in detail later, but let me just explain that to you for now, that these variables that I defined here, they are not only available inside of init function. So again, these scores, this current score, this active play, and this playing, all of these variables I declare them here in is inside of this function. And because of that, they are not accessible outside of this function. And so they are scoping to this init function we have declared here, because that's where I declare them. So the solution is to declare these variables outside any function but not a value. So we want these values to be accessed outside but not by simply calling it. We'll know about it, the depth of this scoping in the next. But for now, let's call all these variables outside. So here I'm just calling. So I'm using here let. So you can use let variable multiple times, like we have already discussed let playing. So I'm calling here playing outside, and also current score, and also active player, and also scores. So these four things I'm just calling it outside. And here, while coming into this function, when we are calling this variables outside, no need to declare them here the inside, that with the let and constant. And also, if you have noticed, when we have declared them here outside, we are not assigning them any value here. So the values are assigned here is inside the function only. Init function, we need to call it here in the bottom as well. But here in bottom, initially we have declared here, right? Inside the function, we have written content, right? But there is no function here, right? Right now, not required. We are just declaring this whole function above, right? We are just basically calling it that function here only. So simply we'll just say init. That's it. Nothing else is required to do here. No function and all, nothing. As you can see now, here we forgot to add the scores as last element. So previously it was not working. Right now it is working. So with that we have set our code, and then we have our full functionality of this code here, project here. So we'll simply test out the every possible case. So let's hold. See here, the player 2 wins and I am resetting the game. It works in the player 2. Now let me just check in the player 1. So here player 1 wins. See, in the player 1 as well, the button reset works. So here you have the full functionality of the project, and also there is one last week. So here we are setting our project to constraint to 100 score, not the 20. So now you will be able to enjoy this project. With that, the game is ready and future is completed. And yeah, we are now finished the fundamental part of this course. And once again, I hope that you enjoyed and learned a lot of new concepts and you have enjoyed a lot. That's it for this project. Thank you.